guys, thank you for listening to the Freaking Epic Podcast. This is Zach and
John,
and we are back from a hiatus that was caused by really nothing, but I was making rap songs. John, did you listen to my rap song?
It's
about
not.
Pancakes.
I meant to.
You horrible man. It's a rap about pancakes.
I will at some point in time. It will happen.
Okay. Well, welcome back, John. Happy birthday. And what you thinking, John?
I am thinking about one thing and one thing in particular. So I started a new job recently. Actually, I think we talked about this in one of our previous ones. But something that comes up semi-often is that we will defer a donor or send them away if they smell bad. If they smell like absolutely atrocious. Yeah. However, I have realized that I have developed a sensitive nose to this. Of if a donor smells bad, smells real bad. Yeah. I've developed a really sensitive nose to it. And sometimes I can't even be in the room with the donor. Like I will have to just start breathing through my mouth and rush through the screening process because I can't do it anymore.
Wow.
But so that got me thinking, about different noses because sometimes I smell something like completely awful or a donor smells awful to me, but most of the other people don't smell it. And that got me thinking about essential oils.
By the way, that is the third song we're going to make. Our third rap song is about essential oils.
I can't stand the smell of them.
Really?
It gives me a headache. I don't know what it is about it. Like every single kind of essential oil, more or less, that my friends use, or if like any of them is ever being used, it gives me a headache. I can't stand being in the same room. Like I'll bear it if they're my friends, but I can't stand it. But that got me thinking about how people smell things and react to things differently. Because in the opposite of that, I can't even smell if unless my cat has literally just gone. I can't smell her litter anymore.
Wow.
It's just because the litter box is in the same, because I live in a more or less of a studio situation kind of thing. So just my bedroom.
What I've been told about that by Febreze commercials is you've gone nose blind.
Yeah, exactly that. I've gone nose blind of I cannot smell my cat anymore. And people get mad at me for it because it's like, yo, your cat's litter box stinks. It's like, I'm so sorry. I do not smell it.
But you can smell the funk of the unwashed.
Yeah, and I can smell or essential oils. Like if it's really strong, I can't handle it.
You know what I can smell?
What's that?
I can smell people who are trying to sell me Amway.
Amway?
Just like, oh, you're with Worldwide Group, aren't you? That's why you're talking to me randomly at the same Panera that every other Amway person frequents.
See, I thought this was going to be one of those stupid jokes.
No, it's completely true. I can't smell them, but...
No, I thought it was going to be like one of those stupid jokes of, it's just like Henway.
Just like Henway? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
What's a Henway?
About 10 pounds.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
See, that's why I thought it was going to be one of those jokes. It was like, also, hens do not weigh 10 pounds.
Yeah, I know. I just purchased a rotisserie chicken, and it was like barely even 2 pounds. It's depressing. I could have 10 pounds of rotisserie chicken. My life would be
big chicken.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm pro steroids when it comes to the Olympics and when it comes to chickens. Feed the steroid. I want roid chickens. Delicious meaty roid chickens.
But anyways, going back on topic now, it's what that got me thinking about how I have smells that are particularly strong to me, or I have a sensitive nose except for when it comes to my cat. That got me thinking about that study that was done where theoretically everyone could see colors differently because everyone has a different amount of rods and cones in your eyes, and
I mean, not everyone. Some people could, yeah.
Regardless,
it's not like one, yeah. But yeah, for sure.
Of people seeing and interpreting the world differently. So that got me thinking of, what are some other things that are like yours? Like, what senses are you? Would you say your strongest are? And yeah, like how do you think see things or feel things or hear things better or worse or differently than other people?
I definitely hear music differently than other people because all of my friends make fun of my taste in rap because they like rappers typically who are kind of more wordsmithy, but usually the rappers that they like, not always, but a lot of times don't really work with the beat. And I personally like, you know, rappers that I have been told are terrible by all my friends, like Nicki Minaj type, like Drake or Lil Wayne. Like I like them because I think I'm here because when I was making the song with Duran, I felt like there were times like him or my brother Michael couldn't tell that they were very slightly off the beat, and every time it happened, I could tell. So I'm positive in that way that I'm hearing something different than what they're hearing, because to me, like the voice is another instrument, and it's kind of like a symphony or something. I can hear the I can hear kind of the integration of the voice as an instrument, which doesn't mean that I'm like, some musical genius. I'm positive that there are other musical things that I don't hear. But I think that everyone, I think it's really interesting also to look at different, by the way, you're kind of blowing in the mic a little bit right now.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no worries. I think it's interesting to look at the fact that different people at different times can notice different things. So like you're saying, you right now can't smell your cat litter, but if you went away from your cat for a week or a month, the moment you got back, you'd smell it fully because your brain would have unadjusted. It would have readjusted to your new normal. And so also the fact that you right now have to work with people that you have to smell as part of your job, it hyper focuses you on that sense. I think that there's an interesting case to be made that a lot of people's skills and are determined by what their life is like. So the fact that you have that skill is solely because of your job. And if you stopped having that job, you'd still notice it when you thought about it because you'd be able to kind of refine those brain connections, but you wouldn't be able to smell it anymore. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is an interesting thing. And so my dad has been cooking a lot of ginger chicken lately. And because he's been cooking a lot of ginger chicken, I'm really like in tune with what ginger smells like. And we got this new air freshener at work for if a donner stank. Yeah. And as soon as the first time someone sprayed it without me seeing what it was coming from, I just immediately picked up the scent of ginger.
Yeah.
And it was making me super hungry because my dad's ginger chicken is super, super good. But it was making me super hungry, and I couldn't figure out what was causing it for the life of me. And I was just kind of like wandering around in between donors up until I found the can of air spray.
Yeah.
I was like, this wasn't here before. This is a can of air spray. I wonder what this smells like. Maybe this is what's causing me to be super hungry. I sprayed it, and there it was, that smell of ginger. But none of my other coworkers could smell the ginger. And I started to get a little insane over it.
You're still in the mic a little bit, by the way. I'm still getting the kind of breathing in the mic. Okay.
But I started to go a little bit insane because it's like, no, there's ginger in here. I know there's ginger in here. I know it.
Yep.
I know it. To the point of, because it didn't, I looked at the ingredients on the label and it just said various other scents past the like actual chemical compounds. I was like, I have to Google it. So I ended up Googling the manufacturer and Googling exactly what the other scents were. Even then, I couldn't find the exact list or if ginger was a part of it, but I could smell the ginger. And it made me hungry. And so that made me think of, if it's associating the smell of, or something along those lines of something in this air spray was triggering the scent of ginger for me.
Yeah, I know some restaurants put like cookie smell in the air, or have kind of like in their central air they'll have certain types of air freshener. So they've actually kind of done research on what smells will make you eat more.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I knew that was the thing with colors. Color therapy. That's why McDonald's is yellow and red, and the same with Burger King and Wendy's. A lot of them have red and yellow.
Chick-fil-A is red also.
Because red induces hunger.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird little things like that in the world.
I find that super interesting because it just makes me really think about, like, what are people doing to us subliminally that are triggering us to want to do things. Because I started thinking about, I was reading this super interesting article, and when I say article, I just mean like this Twitter user's rant/scientific journey on memes, basically.
Okay.
Well, not memes. Well, yes, memes were a part of it, but basically it was talking about how the differences in advertising has changed through the access of Twitter.
Yeah.
So you're noticing that all of the major restaurants have Twitters, like major Twitters.
Yeah, of course.
And not just like the...
Not just
we apologize.
Yeah, not the corporate ones, but actually like Wendy's, where it's like an actual person. You've got an attitude, and like they're tweeting as a character, not as a brand.
Even then, they're not even tweeting as a character. Well, I guess it is a character somewhat, but they're talking about how these restaurants and things and these brands are getting into memes that aren't even remotely related to their restaurants whatsoever, but it's name recognition and impulse thinking of, hey, Wendy's made a super hilarious tweet today. I think I'm gonna get Wendy's, and it was talking about the whole user growth of people, or consumer growth ratings of Wendy's and things like that, ever since they started memeing and doing things like that weren't just, hey, come try our new spicy this and this and this burger, of where it's the meme of the guy slapping the car.
I know what you're doing.
And there was one, the picture that you used in reference had literally nothing to do with Wendy's past the Wendy's head on the car salesman guy.
Uh-huh.
And it was slapping the car of the roof, and it was like, this baby can fit so many, like something ridiculous like dead bodies or something.
It was probably not dead bodies, but yeah.
Well, I think it might have been something along the lines of dead bodies.
Okay, it is Wendy's, so like Wendy's is the ballsiest of the corporate chains.
Well, yeah,
when it comes to social media.
It's stuff like that. It had nothing to do with Wendy's whatsoever, but it was still hilarious. And there's been growth charts showing how in that particular day, when people read that tweet, more people went to Wendy's.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so crazy to think about how advertising is getting super subliminal.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think part of the thing is that we as a society, specifically in America and a few other westernized countries, but we have a severe lack of community, because it used to be that you would go to your church or something along those lines, community center, and everyone would kind of do things together because you had to. And now the average home size has almost tripled since 1950. So from, the average family in 1950 had 3.7 kids. So it was like 6 people in a 983 square foot apartment house. Now the average family has 1.7 kids, and they're in the average American house is 2,634 feet or something like that. So we have so much less kind of communal experience. So memes make us feel like we're kind of a part of Wendy's community. And so the communal feeling sells tremendously. Like, why do you think people go to Starbucks? It's not because they're necessarily better coffee. It's because they feel like they're a part of something. Like when I go to Starbucks, good things can happen because I'm in my community. It's the equivalent of someone going, when I go to um, my civics group, or my PTA board or my church back in the day. Now they're kind of getting that feeling from Starbucks and Wendy's.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Never really thought about things like that.
Yeah, I think about stuff like this all the time. This is my life.
Oh man.
So okay, so to go back to the original point, what sense do you think you have that maybe other people don't, or that you experience in a different way?
Well, it's obviously my sense of smell, because, well, my sense of smell, I guess, is the only thing that I can think of, and this is mostly just due to I find things super repulsive that other people like or find calming or is proven to be calming, like essential oils. I cannot stand to be in the same room as if someone opens up a bottle of essential oils, I can tell. I start to get a weird kind of headache that I don't usually get. But
well, you could be allergic to one of the base oils that they use in all the oils, because the oils aren't just rose or jasmine or sandalwood or whatever. They're not just that. I don't think sandalwood's more for perfume and colognes, but they don't just use the lemongrass oil. They always have a base compound of a couple or three different oils that's a good carrier. So it might be that you're actually allergic to one of the carrier oils.
Oh, maybe.
One of our friends who's staying at my parents' house, she had to move out of her house because she's allergic to like a lot of different chemicals. And it got to the point where they're building us like a house that just for her, with like completely avoiding all of these chemicals. And
really?
while she's been, because they give her headaches, make her break out, whatever. And she's in my parents' house, and for whatever reason, one of the things she's allergic to came into the house. So she can be in there, but it also she can't be in there forever. So she's staying with my parents, but she's sleeping in a tent in the backyard, specifically to avoid those kind of situations where the kind of the feeling you get with the essential oils. So that is a common thing, and I think people are having maybe more. I don't know. There's kind of two ways to think about it. Either people are having a lot more allergic reactions because we're not using a lot different things than we used to, that are kind of more processed, or we're just noticing it a lot more, and we just thought, oh, this person is a very cranky person, but really they were just, constantly living in an allergic reaction. It's kind of funny to think about vacation spots from, if you're in the 1800s and you live in England, you go to Bath,
right.
You would go to different vacation spots, and there's a concept in my head that maybe people are different during vacation, not solely because, the lack of obligations and responsibilities, stuff like that, but also because there are different environmental factors. Like one of my most core belief is that everything matters and everything means something, and that we just don't necessarily understand what it means, or all the factors of what it means. But a lot of times I like to think about people in in China in the 900 AD, something like that. And people are always kind of going, oh, they believed in that, grinding up pheasant bones would cure this specific ailment. And I always think that, we don't understand what the environmental conditions were. So there may have been, based on the foods available in that region, like an extreme. So let's say people had an extreme magnesium deficiency because the foods that were available in that area didn't contain a lot of magnesium. So then if you were to grind up pheasant bones, I don't think they have much magnesium in them, but just as a for instance, that might have been assuaging their extreme deficit of magnesium. So it really might have worked. Like, I think that not all, but I think that a large portion of kind of old wives' tales, home remedy type things actually had a basis in truth, but we are just living in such a different society with different deficits and different needs that, we make fun of it because for us it doesn't do anything, but for them it legitimately might have been life-changing to have, powdered rhino horn or whatever it is,
Right.
So I think that it's kind of like the smell thing. Like, you've gone nose blind to your cat, but you're also hyper aware of kind of the unwashed smell. And I think that everyone is basically going through some version of that with like 50 different things at once, and probably 48 of them we have no idea that we noticed. But my brother Steven, I think what they're figuring out is that he has a long-term concussive syndrome, and so loud noises bug him a lot more than other people. So like, we might have just been like, hey, he's kind of cranky or something, but really it might be a completely legitimate reaction to stimuli that we just aren't experiencing. I think kind of a lot of life goes like that. Like, if you're able to just go, you know what, they're experiencing the world differently than I am, and I have to kind of try to figure out how they're experiencing it so that I can kind of create a common ground between us.
Okay. I accept that answer.
Yeah. I think I might my sense that might be heightened is sugar, because I love it to a far too high degree.
Fair enough. All right, well, that's all I got for this one, at least.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the Freakin' Epic podcast. We will be back again approximately when I feel like it. But if you want me to be back more often and stop quitting like a jerk, then just leave a comment and be like, hey, Zach, stop quitting. We like this podcast. And I'll be like, oh my goodness, someone cares.